Hello everyone, welcome to Everyday Elite Code. This is Steve Doshi, and today we are going to solve the merge intervals problems where we are given intervals and we need to merge them. So let's first have a look at the example first. So we have an interval 1 3, we have an interval 2 6. We check, since these intervals are overlapping, they naturally become 1 6 after merging them. 8 comma 10 cannot be merged with anything else. 15 comma 18 cannot be merged, so you put them as it is. 1 comma 4 and 4 comma 5, because even if these 2 points are equal, they are still considered as overlapping, and then you merge them. So the interval is 1 to 5 would be a new interval. So the plan is, so how do I think about it is, whenever you have an interval problem, the first thing that you need to think about is sorting, because in any interval problem you might at least need to sort from one way, either the start point or the end point. Okay, so we need to either sort it by the start point or by the end point. Now since we need to merge the intervals, I need to work from the start points. So that is why we sorted from the start points. Now, what the plan today is to have this particular example as the input and work through this example. So you have 6 comma 20 as one of the as one line. 2 comma 6 is one interval. 21 comma 24 is another interval. 4 comma 8 is another interval. 18 comma 20 is another interval. So the first thing that I do is I try to sort these intervals in through the start, because I'm merging, I'm definitely walking through from the start points. So I merge with respect to with respect to the starting points of the interval. So 2, 4, 6, 8. So if you look through this, it's already sorted, and even by the endpoints it is sorted. Okay, but sometimes it might not really be sorted. So I want to visualize this particular interval. So let's go here in let's go to the paint. Let's have a look at this now. Now, when I saw that 2 comma 6, I can make this as 2 comma 6 is this line, 4 comma 8 is this line, 6 comma 20, 18 comma 20, and 21 comma 24. So what I do is, just by looking at it, I can say that because all of these intervals are overlapping out here, I can say that all of these intervals can be grouped together, they can be merged together, and I can have a 2 comma 20 representing all these intervals. Similarly, 21 comma 24, there is nothing overlapping over here, so this is not really grouped together. It's just outputted as 21 comma 24 as it is. Okay, but remember that, I've sorted it in the starting points. If you see 2, 4, 6, 18. Okay, so these are sorted in the starting points. Now when I take this 2 comma 6 as my current interval, I'll keep a pointer at 4 comma 8. I will check 2 comma 6 and 4 comma 8. Do they overlap? If they do overlap, what my current interval becomes is 2 comma 8. So from this point till this point, it would be my current interval. So 2 comma 8 would be my current interval. Now when I go to the next interval, that is 6 comma 20, I will check if 2 comma 8 is overlapping with 6 comma 20, the cumulative overlap. So 2 comma 8, is it overlapping with 6 comma 20? So if you look at this particular portion over here, that is my 2 comma 8, and this portion is 6 comma 20. So this portion is like 6 comma 20 out here, and 2 comma 8 is this. So they have an overlapping region, which is this particular region. So yes, I would say that yes, they do overlap. If they do overlap, then what happens is that my current interval becomes from 2 to 20. Okay, that's how I am thinking. Now I'm not talking about the code, but that's what I'm thinking. Okay, Now I go to the next interval 18 comma 20 and 2 comma 20. Do they overlap? Answer is yes, they do overlap. So my overlapping region becomes this particular it still is 2 comma 20 over. Next is I go to 21 comma 24. I have my current interval as 2 comma 20. Do they overlap? They do not overlap. So I just push back into my result 21 comma 24 and I return this output. Okay, so that's what is the logic out here. Now if I go back to the LeetCode page, okay, we are coming here again. So what did we really do? So we went there, we did something, we visualized it, how it will work, and now we want to convert it into the code form. So now we want to convert it into the code form. What I do is I sort it. So the first thing that I need to do, no matter what, is sorting by the start points. Once I do the sorting by the start points, I initialize my current interval to be the first interval, that is 2 comma 6. So that is my current interval. Then I see 4 comma 8. Then I move to the next iteration. I check my current interval, which is 2 comma 6 with a 4 comma 8, because it's 2 comma 6. The current interval after this would become maximum of 6 or 8 over here. The end point of the current interval would actually become the maximum of 6 and 8. But because the minimum would always be 2, I have already sorted it by the start points. So I just need to maximize the last 2 points. So 8 would be the answer here. So my current interval in this iteration would be 2 comma 8. Then the current interval is 2 comma 8. Then the pointer is at 6 comma 20. I would take 2. First I will check 6 comma 20 and 2 comma 8. Do they overlap? Answer is yes, they do overlap. If they overlap, what happens to the last point? The current interval becomes 2 comma maximum of this 8 and this 20. Okay, so that is 2 comma 20. So the current interval becomes 2 comma 20. Similarly, then 2 comma 20 and 18 comma 20 are compared. Do they overlap? Answer is yes, they do overlap. If they overlap, what happens to the current interval's last endpoint? The endpoint becomes the maximum of these two endpoints, and that is maximum of 20 comma 20, and the current interval, therefore it is 2 comma 20. Next is check if it overlaps with 21 comma 24. Does it overlap with 21 if the current interval is 2 comma 20 and the interval that I am really on, the iterator, is 21 comma 24? Do they overlap? Answer is no, they do not overlap. So I simply push back into my result, and in the next iteration the current interval should be 21 comma 24. So if tomorrow let's say if I add a 23 comma 27, okay, what will happen is in the next interval, of course, the current in the next iteration, the current interval would be 21 comma 24. That is the back of this particular array, and the current interval is this. The iteration that I am on is 23 comma 27. I will check if they overlap. Yes, they do overlap. If they overlap, then what happens to the current interval? New current interval would become 21 comma maximum of 24 comma 27. So I merge them and say that it is 21 comma 27. So this is merged into, this is actually, so over here the result over here is 2 comma 20, and the same particular array is replaced with 21 comma 27. So that's how the code is actually. That's how what we have done in the code. This was just a walkthrough, logical walkthrough from the code. Now let's look at the code exactly and try to run this thing. So I have just initialized a vector of vector, so an array of array that is called as result. Then the first thing, that's what we did in everything. Even while we were doing it on the paint, on the whiteboard, we sorted it. Even while we were thinking about the walkthrough, we sorted it. even now, so even in the code, it has to be the sorting first. So I sort it, and the comparator functions makes sure that the sorting is from the start point of every interval. With respect, I initialize the current interval over here. If the interval's size is lesser than equal to 1, so if the interval is an empty interval, so if you are given intervals and it's empty, you just return the empty interval as it is. If the interval is, if it has only one interval, then you return that particular interval. Similarly, I initialize the current interval of 0 to be the first interval's start point, and the current interval of 1 would be the first interval's end point out here. So that's what these two lines do. Next is result dot pushback current interval. So what do I mean? The first, this thing which was 2,6 in our case, would be pushed back into my result. So the result as of now contains a 2,6. Now I go from I is equal to 1, I is less than the size of the interval, I plus plus. So the current interval would be whatever is there, result dot back. So back is basically, this is referencing to a point, to the last point of my vector. So this is referencing to the last point of my vector. So last point as of now is 2,6. So the current interval is 2,6. What is intervals of I at this particular moment? Remember, I is 1. So it's 4,8. So 4,8 and 2,6, do they overlap? Yes, they do overlap. So result dot back, I'm referencing to 2,6. I'm saying the first, that means the end value, which is 6, should be the maximum of the current end value, which is 6, or it should be the maximum of I, the interval that I am on, that is 4,8, the end value of this particular interval. So it's just doing max of 6,8 out in this particular fashion. So and 6,8, so this is getting changed to 8 because I am directly referencing to that particular point. Okay, so that becomes 2,8. Again, I now becomes equal to 2. In the next loop, what happens? What is my current interval? It is 2,8. What is the interval I am on? It is 6,20. Do they overlap? Answer is yes, they do overlap. If they overlap, result dot back. Again, it is 2,8. It's referencing at that particular point, and the maximum of 8 and 20 would be taken out here, and this gets replaced by 20. Next, in the next iteration, I am pointing at 18,20. The current interval is 2,20. So 2,20 and 18,20, do they overlap? Yes, they do overlap. And the back would be maximum of 20,20 out here. So at this point, it is maximum of 20,20. So that is why you just have a 20 out here. So you do not really change anything. Then you go back, the I becomes equal to, the current interval is now 2,20. The interval that I am pointing to is 21,24. So do they, is 20,20, 2,20 overlapping with 21,24? Answer is no, they do not overlap. So I simply push back this particular 21,24 into my result, and now result becomes 21,24 as it is out here. So the result becomes 21,24. Then I go back into the loop. It is 23,27. What is the current interval? It's the back of this. So back of this is 21,24. So current interval, that is 21,24, is checked with 23,27. Do they overlap? Yes, they do overlap. So the back, which was 24, I would take the maximum value amongst 24 and 27, and it is 27. So I would return 2,20 and 21,27 into my answer. So this is how I think about this particular problem. So the normal approaches, the general approaches, the general takeaways is that always remember to sort these intervals either by the start or by the end, depending on the problem. The problem can be different. And next is, when I saw this particular picture of the paint things became much clearer. So whenever you have an interval problem, make this kind of image of a paint into your mind, or if you want to write it down in a book, do whatever you want to do, but do that. And so this is the solution. Okay, we do not want to memorize the solution, but we just want to understand how did we go about this. So we can just, I would ask you to, if you have the time, go try out your kind of intervals, put any class intervals that you have. If you want to have some lecture intervals, just add these lecture intervals, keep keep playing with the different numbers and start walking through this particular code. And then you will really have fun with that, and make sure that you have fun with it. So that's it for today, guys. If you like this video, please like, comment, and subscribe to this channel. I am intending to put more such better videos. Today it was my first try with paint, so, and I thought that it's good, so I'll keep doing that. Now add my explanations in paint as well. So yeah, that's it for today. Please like, share, and subscribe.